Chosen one, are you sitting there wondering if God has forgotten your name? Have you been staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., asking yourself if you missed the train, if your moment passed you by while you were busy surviving? Are you tired of feeling like everyone else got the memo about their breakthrough except you? Stop right there. You weren't supposed to scroll here tonight. You were summoned. This isn't the algorithm. This isn't coincidence. This is divine intervention, breaking through the static of your doubt. Listen to me carefully, that ache in your chest, that restless stirring you've been carrying for months, maybe years. That's not anxiety. That's anticipation. Your spirit has been sensing something your mind couldn't yet comprehend. Something massive, something undeniable, something that's been circling your life like a freight train in the distance. And tomorrow, this Monday, it's pulling into your station. I need you to understand something that will shatter every lie the enemy has whispered in your ear. You didn't miss it. You weren't forgotten. You weren't passed over. The train didn't leave without you. You were being prepared for this exact moment. Every rejection that stung, every door that slammed shut, every prayer that felt like it bounced off the ceiling, none of it was wasted. None of it was punishment. It was positioning. God wasn't ignoring you. He was protecting something sacred, something so specifically designed for your DNA that it could only be released when you were ready to carry its weight. This Monday isn't just another day on the calendar. It's a divine appointment that's been circled in heaven's ledger since before you took your first breath. What you're about to see, what you're about to experience, will leave no room for doubt about who you are and why you're here. If you feel something already stirring in your chest, that electric recognition that this message found you at precisely the right moment, comment, "I'm ready," below. Let your spirit speak before your mind catches up. Let heaven know you're listening. Before we dive deeper, I want to thank every single one of you who has supported this message through super thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here, your support, your time, your attention. It all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and let that offering flow as an act of faith, as seed sown into fertile ground. Now, lean in. What I'm about to reveal about this Monday will explain why you've felt so unsettled lately, why sleep has been restless, why your prayers have felt different. The waiting is over. Your moment of recognition has arrived. Have you ever felt like you've been sitting in the waiting room of heaven for decades while everyone else gets called into their destiny? Are you tired of watching people half your age walk into the very opportunities you've been praying for since the Carter administration? Do you wake up some mornings wondering if God's calendar got mixed up and your appointment got lost somewhere between 1975 and now? Listen to me, beloved. Every single night you've laid your head on that pillow, whispering, "How much longer, Lord?" Every tear that's rolled down your cheek at 3 a.m., when the house was quiet and your heart was loud, every moment you felt forgotten while watching others step into their breakthrough. None of it was wasted time. The clock wasn't broken. It was prophetic. You see, we live in a culture that worships youth, that screams, "If it doesn't happen by 30, you missed your shot." But heaven operates on a completely different timeline. God doesn't wear a Rolex. He doesn't punch a time clock. He doesn't care about your birth certificate or your AARP card or how many candles were on your last birthday cake. Moses was 80 years old when God appeared in that burning bush. 80. Most folks today are thinking about retirement at 65, but Moses was just getting started. For 8 decades, he probably thought he was washed up a murderer hiding in the desert, tending sheep, wondering if his life meant anything at all. But God was preparing him in that wilderness. Every year of waiting was building the character he'd need to lead 2 million people out of bondage. Abraham was 99 when God promised him a son. 99. Sarah was 90. In today's world, they'd be great-grandparents, not expecting their first child. But Isaac wasn't just any baby, he was the child of promise, the one who would carry the covenant into the next generation. The delay wasn't God forgetting his promise. It was God orchestrating a miracle so profound that nobody could claim it was anything but divine. And then there's Anna the prophetess. Luke tells us she was 84 years old when she first laid eyes on baby Jesus in the temple. 84 years of praying, fasting, waiting, believing that the Messiah would come in her lifetime. 84 years of people probably telling her, "Anna, honey, maybe it's time to give up on that dream." But she held on. And when that moment came, when Mary and Joseph walked through those temple doors carrying the Christ child, Anna's eyes saw what kings and prophets had longed to see. Your delay isn't denial, dear one. It's alignment. What if everything in your life was slowed down, not because you were being punished, but because something massive, something generational, something that would reshape your entire family tree had to catch up to you? What if the waiting wasn't about you getting ready for the blessing, but about the blessing getting ready for you? Think about this. A fine wine isn't rushed. The most precious diamonds aren't formed overnight. The mightiest oak trees don't sprout in a season. Time doesn't diminish value, it increases it. And God has been aging you like fine wine, refining you like precious metal, growing you into the mighty oak He always knew you'd become. Every closed door that crushed your spirit, it was redirecting you toward the right door. Every job you didn't get, God was saving you for the position that would actually fit your calling. Every relationship that ended, He was clearing the path for divine connections that would propel you into your purpose. Every prayer that seemed to bounce off the ceiling, it was being stored up in heaven's treasury, earning compound interest until the appointed time. You've been asking, when, Lord? But He's been answering, not yet, but soon. The enemy wants you to believe that your best years are behind you. He wants you to think that God's shelf life for miracles has an expiration date. He wants you to settle into a rocking chair of resignation, convinced that breakthrough is a young person's game. But that's the biggest lie ever told. Your hair may be silver, but your destiny is still golden. Your joints may creak, but your anointing is still fresh. Your body may be slowing down, but your spirit is about to speed up. Because this Monday, this coming Monday, something is shifting in the atmosphere over your life. I can sense it right now as I'm speaking these words. There's an electricity in the spiritual realm. The angels are positioning themselves. The windows of heaven are creaking open. What you've been believing for, hoping for, crying for in the secret place of your heart is about to manifest in the visible realm. This isn't about age, beloved. This is about assignment. And your assignment has been waiting for you to reach this exact level of wisdom, this exact depth of faith, this exact season of surrender. Because what God is about to entrust to you isn't something He could have given you when you were younger, busier, more distracted by the noise of the world. Tag someone who's still waiting. Because you're not the only one feeling this stirring. There's a whole generation of chosen ones who've been marked by delay, refined by waiting, and prepared for such a time as this. But here's what you need to understand about this Monday that's approaching. It's not coming to comfort you. It's coming to commission you. Let me tell you something that's going to shake the very foundation of how you see time itself. Heaven's calendar has a circle around Monday. Not because it's convenient, not because it's symbolic, but because there's something written into the atmosphere of that day that has your name etched in divine ink. You've been living your life thinking Monday is just another Monday, another day to drag yourself through, another 24 hours to survive. But what if I told you that your Monday already knows your name? What if I told you it's been waiting decades for you to show up? Here's what nobody prepared you for. Destiny doesn't arrive with fanfare. It arrives with whispers. It comes in the quiet moments when you're least expecting it, when your guard is down, when you've stopped straining to hear God's voice because you're tired of the silence. Monday isn't just a day. Monday is the door, and behind that door, something has been stirring. Something that's been building pressure like steam in a kettle. Something that's been gathering momentum in the unseen realm while you've been questioning whether God still remembers your address. Do you know what's been happening while you've been sleeping? While you've been doubting? While you've been wondering if you're too old, too late, too forgotten? Divine preparation has been moving pieces across the board of your life, like a master chess player who sees 50 moves ahead. Every disappointment you've endured has been positioning you. Every rejection has been protection. Every delay has been development. And now, this Monday, all those chess pieces are about to reveal their purpose in one stunning move that will leave you breathless. But here's where it gets personal. Here's where it hits your heart like lightning. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That restlessness in your spirit. That stirring in your chest when you wake up at 3 a.m. and can't get back to sleep. That sense that something is shifting in the atmosphere around your life. That's not insomnia, that's anticipation. Your spirit has been picking up signals from Monday that your mind hasn't decoded yet. In Isaiah 55:11, God declares, "So shall my word be that goes out from my mouth. It will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire and achieve the purpose for which I sent it." Every word God has spoken over your life is converging on Monday like rivers flowing toward the ocean. You want to know why you've felt so unsettled lately? Why nothing feels quite right? Why you keep looking around wondering when things are going to shift? It's because your soul has been sensing Monday approaching like a storm front. The atmospheric pressure of destiny has been building, and you've been feeling it in your bones. This is not wishful thinking. This is not positive psychology. This is prophetic recognition of divine timing that's been set in motion since before you were born. Listen to me carefully. Monday is not coming to test you. Monday is coming to reveal you, not to break you, but to unveil what's been hidden inside you all along. What you think has been buried under years of disappointment is actually what's been preserved under divine protection. Every Monday of your life has been practiced for this Monday. Every time you've gotten up when you didn't want to. Every time you've pushed through when everything in you wanted to quit. Every time you've chosen faith over fear, hope over despair, trust over doubt. It's all been preparation for this moment. But here's the part that's going to bring tears to your eyes. Monday has been lonely too. This divine appointment has been waiting for you to mature into someone who can handle its weight. It's been circling your life for years, waiting for you to become strong enough, wise enough, empty enough of pride, and full enough of purpose to carry what it's bringing. You see, God doesn't give assignments to children. He gives them to sons and daughters who've been through the fire and come out refined. Monday isn't bringing you a participation trophy. It's bringing you an inheritance that you've unknowingly been earning through every trial you've survived. In Jeremiah 29:11, God reminds us, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, to give you hope and a future." Your Monday is that future arriving in the present tense. The question isn't whether Monday will show up. Monday is inevitable. The question is, will you recognize it when it does? Will you have the spiritual discernment to see divine intervention when it comes wrapped in ordinary packaging? Because here's what I need you to understand about how God moves. He doesn't always part seas. Sometimes he parts hearts. He doesn't always speak in thunder. Sometimes he whispers through a phone call, a letter, a moment of clarity that hits you like a revelation. Your Monday might look like a conversation that changes everything. It might look like a door opening that you didn't even know existed. It might look like peace settling in your spirit after years of restlessness. It might look like answers to prayers you stopped praying because you thought God had said no. The silence is about to break. The waiting is about to transform into walking. The question marks are about to become exclamation points. But you have to be awake for it. You have to be listening for it. You have to be ready to recognize divine interruption when it crashes into your ordinary Monday morning and transforms it into the most extraordinary day of your life. Are you ready to stop living in the echo of what God said yesterday and start walking in the thunder of what He's saying now? You thought the silence meant you were forgotten. It didn't. Let me speak to that wounded place in your heart, the place that's been whispering lies in the dark hours when sleep won't come. The place that's been keeping score of everyone else's victories while you're still fighting just to believe your breakthrough is real. You've been carrying a weight that was never yours to bear. The weight of thinking God changed his mind about you. The weight of believing that maybe, just maybe, you heard him wrong all those years ago when he whispered promises over your life that felt too good to be true. I see you, dear one. I see how you've watched from the sidelines as others walked into their destiny while you're still in the wilderness. You've counted the birthdays. You've marked the anniversaries of dreams deferred. You've sat in church services, forcing a smile while inside you're screaming, "When is it my turn?" The enemy has been busy, hasn't he? He's been planting questions like poison seeds in the garden of your faith. If you were really chosen, wouldn't you have succeeded by now? If God really had a plan for you, wouldn't doors be flying open? If you were truly anointed, wouldn't people recognize it? But here's what the devil doesn't want you to know. Every single delay was strategic. Every closed door was divine protection. Every season of silence was preparation for a sound so powerful that when it comes, the whole earth will hear it. You grieved a dream you were still carrying. That's the cruelest trick the enemy plays on the chosen. He makes you mourn something that isn't dead, just dormant. He makes you hold a funeral for a promise that's still breathing in the secret place of God's heart. Think about Joseph, 17 years old when he received his dream, 30 years old when he walked into the palace. 13 years of pit experiences, prison cells, and forgotten promises. 13 years of his brothers thinking they'd killed his destiny when all they did was plant it deeper. You think those 13 years were wasted? Every betrayal was building his character. Every injustice was sharpening his discernment. Every lonely night was teaching him to hear God's voice above the noise of circumstances. David spent 7 years running from Saul after Samuel anointed him king. 7 years hiding in caves, wondering if the prophet got it wrong. 7 years of his own people hunting him like a criminal. But those caves weren't his burial ground, they were his seminary. God was teaching the future king how to lead from brokenness, how to worship in the wilderness, how to trust when everything looks contrary to the promise. Here's the truth that will shatter every lie you've believed. The enemy didn't fight you because you were weak. He fought you because you were marked. Why do you think your battles have been so intense? Why do you think the attacks on your mind, your family, your finances, your relationships have been so relentless? Because hell recognizes the anointing on your life even when you don't. The devil doesn't waste ammunition on people who pose no threat to his kingdom. He doesn't deploy his strongest demons against ordinary believers. But you've had a target on your back since before you were born, because heaven stamped something on your spirit that makes darkness tremble. Every setback was actually a setup. Every loss was positioning you for gain. Every person who walked away from you during your wilderness season, God allowed it because they couldn't handle where He's taking you. They would have become weight in your wings when it's time to soar. You weren't buried, beloved. You were planted. Like a seed that must die to its current form to become a tree, you've been going through the breaking that precedes the breakthrough. The soil of suffering has been preparing you for a harvest that will feed nations. The darkness you've been walking through hasn't been your destination, it's been your incubation. Moses spent 40 years thinking he was nobody, herding sheep in the backside of the desert. But God was using those 40 years to kill the Egyptian prince and birth the Hebrew deliverer. The wilderness wasn't punishment, it was preparation for the moment when Pharaoh's empire would bow to the power of the God who speaks through burning bushes. You've been measuring your worth by the wrong standard. You've been looking at your current circumstances and forgetting that God operates outside of time. Your delay isn't His denial. Your silence isn't His absence. Your struggle isn't His rejection. The very fact that you're still standing, still believing, still hoping after everything you've been through is proof that there's something supernatural sustaining you. Ordinary people would have quit by now. Average believers would have thrown in the towel, but you're still here because the same Spirit that raised Christ from the dead is keeping you alive for your appointed hour. Every night you've cried yourself to sleep, God collected those tears in his bottle. Every prayer you've whispered in desperation, he's stored in golden bowls before his throne. Every step you've taken in faith when you couldn't see the path, he's been ordering toward your divine destination. The waiting is about to end. The silence is about to break. The promise that's been gestating in the secret place is about to be born in the visible realm. Type "I was never forgotten" in the comments. Speak it so hell hears you. Declare it so heaven releases what's been held in reserve for this very moment. Because Monday isn't just another day, it's the day your latter becomes greater than your former. And every lie you believed in the waiting gets swallowed up in the truth of your triumph. Here's what I need you to understand about this Monday. You're going to feel it before you see it. That's how divine appointments work. They don't knock on your door. They vibrate through your bones first. You'll wake up Monday morning and something will be different. Not in your circumstances, not yet, but in your atmosphere. There'll be a peace without reason. The kind that makes no logical sense when you look at your bank account, your health report, or your relationship status. But it's there, settled, unshakable. Like your spirit just received classified information your mind hasn't been briefed on yet. Listen carefully, because this is where most people miss it. They're waiting for the external shift while God is orchestrating the internal one. But you, chosen one, you're about to experience what Philippians 4:7 calls the peace of God, which passeth all understanding. That peace isn't just comfort, it's confirmation. It's heaven's way of saying, we're about to move mountains, so anchor yourself in this moment. You've been carrying chaos for so long that when real peace arrives, you might not recognize it at first. You might even be suspicious of it. After all, you've been disappointed before. You've had false starts. You've celebrated too early only to watch doors slam shut again. But this is different. This peace comes with sharp clarity, the kind that cuts through confusion like a blade through fog. On Monday, you're going to see things you couldn't see on Sunday. Opportunities that were invisible will suddenly be obvious. Connections that seemed impossible will feel inevitable. People who ignored your calls will be calling you. Why? Because when God shifts the spiritual atmosphere around your life, it creates a ripple effect in the natural realm. What was hidden gets revealed. What was blocked gets cleared. Here's what the enemy doesn't want you to know. You won't have to chase it. You won't have to hustle, manipulate, or force doors open with your bare hands. It will recognize you, because the blessing missed you too, and it's been circling back, gathering momentum, accumulating interest like a divine investment that's finally matured. Think about that. While you've been wondering where your breakthrough went, it's been growing. While you've been questioning God's timing, he's been perfecting the delivery. Every delay added value. Every detour added depth. And now it's ready. Not the watered-down version you would have settled for 3 years ago, but the full-strength, undiluted blessing that requires the mature version of you to handle it. You are not chasing favor anymore. You are a magnetic field of divine timing. When you're aligned with God's purposes, you don't pursue blessings, they pursue you. Isaiah 65:24 promises, "Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear." God has already dispatched your answer. It's en route. Monday is the delivery date. But here's where I need you to pay close attention. There will be signs. 3 specific signals that your breakthrough has arrived. First, they'll come through a message, a text, an email, a phone call that makes your heart skip because the timing is too precise to be coincidence. Someone will say exactly what you needed to hear, when you needed to hear it, in words that sound like they were lifted straight from your private prayers. Second, through a person. Someone unexpected will walk into your orbit on Monday. Maybe it's someone from your past making contact out of nowhere. Maybe it's a stranger who strikes up a conversation that leads somewhere significant. Maybe it's someone you've known all along, but suddenly they're seeing you differently, offering opportunities they never offered before. When God wants to bless you, He often uses human vessels. Don't dismiss the messenger, because you weren't expecting that particular delivery method. Third, through a moment that feels supernatural. You'll be somewhere ordinary: grocery store, coffee shop, walking down the street when something extraordinary happens. A conversation you overhear that answers a question you've been asking God. A number you keep seeing that connects to something significant. A song that plays right when you needed to hear those exact lyrics. These aren't coincidences. These are confirmations. God speaking your language in the dialect of divine timing. Now here's what separates the chosen from the confused. When these signs appear, you won't analyze them to death. You won't talk yourself out of believing them. You'll know. Deep down in your spirit, where doubt can't reach, you'll know this is it. This is what you've been waiting for. Not because it looks like what you expected, but because it feels like what you prayed for. But I'm warning you right now, don't you dare keep this silent when it happens. The enemy's greatest strategy is isolation. He wants you to experience God's goodness in secret, then question whether it really happened. Don't give him that satisfaction. When Monday's miracle manifests, post it, speak it, share it. Become the proof for someone else still waiting in their Sunday night questioning session. Your testimony isn't just your victory, it's someone else's hope. Your breakthrough isn't just your blessing, it's their blueprint. When you speak what God has done, you give others permission to believe He'll do it again. Monday isn't just another day. It's the day your faith graduates from theory to reality. Are you ready to stop being the person who waits and become the person others wait to hear from? Dear chosen one, let me tell you something that's going to change how you see every difficult season you've walked through. Those years when nobody called, those months when the phone didn't ring with good news, those silent stretches when you wondered if God had put you on mute. You thought you were being forgotten. You thought you were being punished. You thought you were wasting precious time. You were wrong. You weren't wasting time. You were being trained in silence. And there's a profound difference between the two that will bring tears to your eyes when you finally understand it. Listen to me carefully. God was building in you what applause could never develop. He was forging in your character what success could never create. He was installing in your spirit what popularity could never sustain. The silent years weren't empty years. They were the most productive years of your spiritual life, and you didn't even know it. Think about David. 15 years between his anointing and his coronation. 15 years of caves and sheep and running for his life. Do you think those were wasted years? Do you think God made a mistake with the timeline? Or do you think maybe, just maybe, God knew that the man who would need to lead a nation had to first learn to be alone with him in the wilderness? 1 Samuel 16:11 tells us David was tending the sheep, while his brothers were at the feast, while the important people were being seen. David was hidden away with the flock. And it was there, in that obscurity, that God said, "This is the one." Not the one who looked the part, not the one who networked his way to the front, the one who was faithful when nobody was watching. You've been David in the field, and you've hated every minute of it. You've watched others get promoted while you stayed in the same place. You've seen people with half your wisdom get twice the recognition. You've endured financial desperation that made you question your own worth. You've sat through holidays alone, wondering if anyone would miss you if you disappeared. You've battled depression so deep it felt like drowning. You've faced losses that shattered your concept of fairness. You've experienced betrayals that rewrote your definition of trust. But here's what you couldn't see while you were going through it. Here's what the enemy desperately hoped you'd never figure out. Every single one of those experiences was developing something in you that cannot be taught in a classroom, cannot be downloaded from a podcast, cannot be gained through networking or positive thinking or self-help books. You were developing unshakable faith. the kind that doesn't crumble when circumstances don't make sense. You were building spiritual muscle that can carry weight others can't even lift. You were growing roots so deep that when the storms of success come, when the pressure of purpose arrives, when the weight of your calling finally lands on your shoulders, you won't topple over. Job 23:10 says it perfectly. But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold. Not silver, not bronze, gold. The kind of character that can only be forged in fire. Do you realize what you survived? Do you have any idea how many people would have quit by now? How many would have thrown in the towel, walked away from faith, given up on God's promises? But not you. You're still here. You're still believing. You're still showing up to this message on a Sunday night, still hoping, still trusting that God hasn't forgotten your name. That's not weakness, that's supernatural strength. That's the kind of endurance that qualifies you for greatness. You didn't just survive loneliness. You learned to be comfortable with yourself and with God when the crowd disappeared. You didn't just survive financial struggle. You discovered that your worth isn't measured by your bank account. You didn't just survive betrayal. You learned to trust God even when people failed you. You didn't just survive disappointment. You learned to hope beyond what you can see. And now you're standing at the threshold of Monday morning as someone completely different than who you were when the silent season began. You're not the same person who was desperate for approval. You're not the same person who needed constant validation. You're not the same person who crumbled under pressure. You became the version of you who can finally handle the answer to your prayers. This is the revelation that's going to rock your world. The delay wasn't denial. It was preparation for a blessing so big, so significant, so life-altering, that the old version of you couldn't have carried it. You would have given God the glory for 5 minutes, and then started believing your own press. You would have received the breakthrough, and then forgotten who gave it to you. But not now. Now you know where your strength comes from. Now you know who holds your future. Now you know that every good and perfect gift comes from above. And when it arrives, you'll handle it with the wisdom and humility that only comes from walking through the valley of the shadow of death and coming out alive. Isaiah 40:31 promises that those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. That's you, chosen one. That's what the silent years produced. That's what the waiting developed. So let me ask you this, and your answer will determine what happens next. If Monday brings the moment you've been praying for, if the door you've been knocking on finally swings wide open, if the promise you've been holding on to finally materializes in your hands, will you be the one to rise? Or will you talk yourself out of it again, convincing yourself you're not ready, you don't deserve it, it's too good to be true? Because Monday is coming whether you believe you're ready or not. Many are called, few are chosen. Even fewer say yes. You think God's silence means he's forgotten you. You think your age means it's too late. You think your failures disqualified you from his promises. Let me shatter that lie right now. God doesn't operate on your timeline. He operates on his timing. And this Monday, his timing collides with your destiny. But here's what's going to separate you from the masses who will scroll past this message and go back to their ordinary lives. God won't push you through the door. He opens it. He illuminates it. He even whispers your name, but you have to walk through it. You are standing at the threshold of something sacred right now. Not someday. Not when you feel ready. Not when all your ducks are in a row. Right now. This moment. This message. This Monday that's racing toward you like a divine appointment you can't reschedule. And I need to tell you something that might sting. Your delay is not humility. Your hesitation is not wisdom. Your "I'm not ready yet" is not spiritual maturity. It's fear dressed up in religious language. Moses was 80 years old when God called him at the burning bush. 80. When most people are settling into retirement, God said, "Now you're ready for your real assignment." Moses could have said, Lord, I'm too old, I'm not eloquent, I missed my window. Instead, he said yes to the impossible, and he led 2 million people out of bondage. Abraham was 75 when God told him to leave everything familiar and follow a promise he couldn't see. Sarah was 90 when she laughed at God's promise of a son. 90. Yet she became the mother of nations because she stopped laughing and started believing. You think you're too late? You think your best years are behind you? That's not the voice of God speaking. That's the voice of the enemy trying to rob you of what's rightfully yours. Here's what I know about you, chosen one. You've been carrying something in your spirit for years, maybe decades. A dream that won't die. A calling that keeps knocking. A vision that resurfaces every time you think you've buried it. You know what that is. That's not your imagination. That's not wishful thinking. That's God's voice echoing in the chambers of your heart, reminding you that He's not done with you yet. But the enemy whispers lies. You're too old. You don't have enough time left. You don't have the energy you used to have. You don't have the resources. You don't have the connections. Stop listening to that garbage. Caleb was 85 years old when he said, "Give me this mountain." He wasn't asking for a rocking chair. He wasn't asking for a quiet retirement. He was asking for the biggest, most challenging assignment available. And God gave it to him, because age is not a limitation in the kingdom. It's an asset. Your wrinkles are wisdom marks. Your scars are victory stories. Your gray hair is a crown of glory. Proverbs 20:29 says, "The glory of young men is their strength, gray hair the splendor of the old." You're not declining. You're ripening. But here's the hard truth. Time is not standing still while you make up your mind. This Monday is coming whether you're ready or not. This door is opening whether you walk through it or not. This divine appointment is happening whether you show up or not. The question is, will you be there? Because if you don't move by Monday, something else will. Someone else will. Some other chosen one who's tired of waiting, tired of excuses, tired of playing small will step into what was offered to you first. God's plans don't have your name permanently engraved on them. They have your name written in pencil, and if you keep erasing yourself with doubt, He'll write someone else's name there. This isn't a threat. This is reality. This is how the kingdom operates. To those who have, more will be given. From those who don't use what they have, even what they have will be taken away. Matthew 25:29. You've been given gifts. You've been given dreams. You've been given time. You've been given this moment. The question is, what are you going to do with them? I can feel some of you right now making excuses, but I don't know how. Good. God doesn't call the equipped. He equips the called. But I don't have enough money. Money follows vision, not the other way around. But I'm afraid I'll fail. You're already failing by not trying. Moses couldn't speak well. God gave him Aaron. David was just a shepherd boy. God made him a king. Mary was a teenage girl from nowhere. God made her the mother of the Messiah. Your limitations are not disqualifications. They're invitations for God to show up and show off. If you feel the weight of this word burning in your chest right now, then do something physical with it. Don't just feel it. Act on it. Write it down. Call someone. Get up from where you're sitting. Move your body. Let your faith have feet. Because Monday is coming. And when it arrives, it's going to separate those who were just interested from those who were committed. Those who were just hoping from those who were moving. Those who were just believing from those who were becoming. Which one will you be? You thought the battle was over once the door opened. But let me tell you something that's going to shake you awake. The door was never the finish line. It was the starting line. And right now, tonight, some of you are standing in that doorway, paralyzed, not by fear of failure, but by something far more insidious, fear of success. Fear that maybe, just maybe, you really are who God says you are. Here's what nobody warned you about. The moment breakthrough begins, hell throws everything it's got at you. Not to stop you from getting there, you're already there, but to stop you from walking through. You got the call, didn't you? The opportunity showed up. That door you've been praying for finally creaked open, and suddenly anxiety flooded in like a dam burst. Old voices started screaming in your head. Self-sabotage kicked into overdrive. Procrastination became your best friend. And you're sitting there wondering, why now? Why, when I'm this close, do I suddenly feel like I'm drowning? It's like finally reaching the shore after swimming through stormy seas for years, and suddenly forgetting how to walk because you've been treading water for so long. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. This resistance isn't random, it's spiritual warfare at its most sophisticated level. The enemy knows he can't keep the door closed forever, so he changes tactics. He whispers, "You don't belong here. Look at your past, look at your mistakes. Look at how long it took you to get here." Real chosen ones don't struggle this much. But here's the shocking truth that's going to change everything. Sometimes we don't miss our breakthrough because of the enemy's attacks. We miss it because we don't believe we're worthy of walking through the door God opened specifically for us. Moses stood at the burning bush and said, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh?" Gideon hid in a winepress when the angel called him a mighty warrior. Esther hesitated when destiny called her name. Even David, the man after God's own heart, spent years running from the very throne God had anointed him for. You know what that tells me? Hesitation at the threshold isn't disqualification. It's confirmation that what's waiting on the other side is so big, so life-altering, that your human mind can't fully comprehend it. But here's where it gets dangerous. Right now, tonight, some of you are standing at that door making excuses. I need more time to prepare. I need to get my life together first. I need to be more spiritual, more worthy, more ready. You want to know what that is? That's not humility. That's pride disguised as piety. You're essentially telling God, "Thanks for the open door, but I know better than you about when I'm ready." The children of Israel did the same thing. They stood at the edge of the promised land, saw the giants, and said, "We need more time. We're not ready. Send us back to the wilderness." And you know what happened? An entire generation died in the desert, never seeing what God had prepared for them. Is that going to be your story? Are you going to let fear of your own greatness keep you wandering in circles when the land of promise is 3 steps away? I'm talking to that person who got the job offer but hasn't responded. To the one who received the invitation but keeps finding reasons to decline. To the one who felt the calling but keeps scheduling it for someday when I'm more ready. Here's what you need to understand. God doesn't open doors based on your readiness. He opens them based on His timing. And if the door is open, that means heaven has already declared you ready, whether you feel it or not. The woman with the issue of blood didn't feel ready when she pushed through the crowd to touch Jesus' garment. She was weak, desperate, broke, and had every reason to believe she didn't belong there. But she touched Him anyway, and Jesus said, "Your faith has made you whole." Your readiness isn't determined by how you feel. It's determined by your willingness to move when God says, "Move." Right now, I need you to stop overthinking and start obeying. Stop analyzing and start advancing. Stop questioning your qualifications and start trusting His call on your life. Because here's what I know about Monday. It's not just bringing opportunity, it's bringing acceleration. What should take years is going to happen in weeks. What seemed impossible is going to unfold with supernatural ease. But only for those who are willing to step through the door while it's open. The door won't wait forever. Divine timing has an expiration date. And I refuse to let you miss your moment because you convinced yourself you needed more preparation for something God has already prepared you for. If you've ever hesitated at the door God opened for you, if you've ever talked yourself out of your own breakthrough type, no more delay right now, out loud, in writing. Say it until heaven hears you. Say it until hell trembles. Say it until your own heart believes it. Because what's waiting for you on Monday isn't just a blessing. It's a collision between your faith and your future, and the impact is going to change everything. The question isn't whether you're ready. The question is, will you walk through? You know what nobody tells you about being chosen? The higher the calling, the heavier the shadows that follow you. Look at me. I'm talking to you sitting there at 73, wondering where the years went. You, at 68, still carrying that dream you thought was foolish. You, at 81, believing your best days are behind you because society told you to step aside and make room for the young. They lied to you. You've buried versions of yourself in years. You've walked with the weight of who you never became, carrying regret like stones in your pockets. Every morning you wake up and feel the echo of roads not taken, words not spoken, chances not seized. You look in the mirror and see wrinkles where dreams used to live. But here's what the enemy doesn't want you to understand. You are not haunted by your past. You're being hunted by your future. Every shadow that follows you, every disappointment that clings to your spirit, every moment you felt invisible while others got promoted, recognized, celebrated. It wasn't random. It wasn't punishment. It was preparation for something so magnificent that it required decades of seasoning to handle. Moses was 80 when he stood before Pharaoh. 80. The burning bush didn't appear to him at 25 when he was strong and confident. It came when he was weathered, when he'd been broken by exile, when he'd learned humility in the wilderness. Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? He asked God. And God's answer was simple: I will be with you. Anna the prophetess was 84 when she recognized the infant Jesus in the temple. 84 years of waiting, of worship, of believing when others had given up. Luke 2:37 tells us she never left the temple but worshipped night and day, fasting and praying. She didn't retire from her calling, she refined it. Your age isn't your expiration date. It's your authentication stamp. Think about it. Why would God allow you to carry disappointment for 40 years if he wasn't planning to use it? Why would he let you experience betrayal, loss, rejection, if those very experiences weren't the exact qualification for what's coming? You think that failed marriage disqualifies you. It qualified you to minister to the broken-hearted. You think that bankruptcy in your 50s was the end. It was the beginning of your testimony about God's provision. You think being passed over for that promotion was about your worth. It was about your assignment being somewhere else entirely. The very thing you think disqualifies you is the very soil your calling will bloom from. I need you to hear this. Your setbacks were setups. Your delays were not denials. Your seasons of obscurity were not God forgetting you, they were God forming you. Every closed door was heaven saying, not this, because I have that. Abraham was 75 when God called him to leave everything familiar. 75. The world would have handed him a retirement watch. Instead, God handed him a nation. Romans 4:17 says God gives life to the dead and calls into being things that were not. Dead dreams, dead hopes, dead possibilities in God's hands. They resurrect. You've been sitting in shadows thinking the light moved on without you. But what if those shadows were just God's way of keeping you hidden until the exact moment when your emergence would have maximum impact? What if every person who hurt you was unknowingly preparing you to heal others? What if every door that slammed was redirecting you toward the door with your name on it? What if every silent prayer, every tear shed in secret, every moment you wondered if God remembered you? What if all of it was being woven into a tapestry so beautiful that when it's finally revealed, it will take your breath away? Your children may have counted you out. Your employer may have encouraged early retirement. Society may have convinced you to shrink, to be quiet, to take up less space. But heaven has been planning your comeback since before you were born. Caleb was 85 when he said, "Give me this mountain," 85 years old, ready to fight giants. In Joshua 14:11 he declared, "I am still as strong today as the day Moses sent me out. I'm just as vigorous to go out to battle now as I was then." That fire you feel sometimes, that restlessness, that sense that something inside you refuses to retire, that's not nostalgia, that's prophecy. That's your spirit, recognizing that your greatest chapter hasn't been written yet. Stop mourning who you used to be and start marveling at who you're becoming. Stop apologizing for your scars and start stewarding them as credentials. Stop believing the lie that your time has passed and start believing the truth that your time is now. This Monday isn't just another day for you. It's the day heaven stops whispering and starts shouting your name. The shadows that have followed you for decades are about to bow to the light that's been growing inside you all along. Say this with your whole heart, out loud, right now. What I lost doesn't define me. What I survived does. Because, chosen one, your survival story is about to become someone else's breakthrough story. And that Monday moment you've been waiting for, it's been waiting for you too. You know what's been eating at you, don't you? That burning question that keeps you awake at 3 a.m. Why did I have to go through all that hell? Why did your marriage crumble when you were praying hardest? Why did the diagnosis come when you were serving faithfully? Why did betrayal strike from the people you trusted most? Let me tell you something that's going to revolutionize how you see every scar, every setback, every season that nearly broke you in half. You were never abandoned. You were being forged. Look at Job, a man who lost everything in a single day. His children, his wealth, his health, even his wife telling him to curse God and die. But here's what the enemy didn't count on. Job didn't come out of that fire diminished. He came out doubled. Job 42:10 tells us the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. The fire didn't destroy Job's destiny. It revealed the unshakable foundation beneath it. You think God was punishing you. But what if he was purifying you? What if every flame that licked at your life was burning away everything that wasn't eternally yours? Remember Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? They were thrown into a furnace heated 7 times hotter than normal. 7 times. The guards who threw them in were killed by the heat. But when King Nebuchadnezzar looked into that fire, he saw 4 men walking around unbound. Daniel 3:25 says, "The 4th looks like a son of the gods." Dear one, you didn't walk through your fire alone. There was always a 4th man with you. And when you came out, you didn't smell like smoke, because the fire never touched what matters most: your spirit, your calling, your divine DNA. But here's where it gets personal. Here's where your story takes a turn that will make angels weep and demons tremble. You think Jesus had it easy because he was the Son of God. Matthew 4 tells us he was led by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil for 40 days. 40 days of hunger, isolation, and satanic assault. The wilderness wasn't his punishment, it was his preparation. He came out of that desert in the power of the Spirit, ready to launch a ministry that would shake the foundations of hell. Your wilderness wasn't your graveyard. It was your graduate school. And what about Sarah? She laughed when God promised her a son at 90 years old. Laughed. Genesis 18:12 says she laughed within herself, thinking, "After I am worn out and my Lord is old, will I now have this pleasure?" But Genesis 21:6 tells us, Sarah said, "God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me." Her mockery became her miracle. Her impossibility became her Isaac. Every time you've been told you're too old, too broken, too late, you've been positioned for a Sarah moment. A divine reversal that will make your enemies scratch their heads and your loved ones weep with joy. But I need you to understand something deeper. Something that's going to change how you walk into tomorrow, into this Monday that's been appointed for your recognition. You're not walking out of the fire smelling like smoke. You're walking out glowing like gold. The fire you survived didn't mark you as damaged goods. It marked you as refined precious metal. When gold goes through the refiner's fire, it doesn't come out weaker, it comes out purer, more valuable, more beautiful. The impurities are burned away, but the gold itself, the gold becomes more golden than it ever was before. Look at your hands right now. These hands have wiped tears that seemed endless. These hands have held broken dreams and shattered promises. These hands have reached out in the dark when hope felt like a foreign language. But these same hands have been baptized in holy fire. They carry the anointing of the survivor, the blessing of the overcomer, the power of the refined. You've been asking God, when will the fire stop? But the real question is this: what am I becoming in the flames? Because here's the shocking truth that's going to rock your understanding of everything you've endured. You didn't just survive the fire, you absorbed it. You metabolized it. You became it. You are the fire now. You don't fear it because you've become it. When opposition comes against you now, it's not coming against someone who might break. It's coming against someone who's been tested at temperatures that would destroy ordinary people. When challenges rise up, they're not rising against someone who's untested. They're rising against someone who's been proven in the furnace of affliction. Your tears have been transformed into liquid fire. Your prayers have become flaming arrows. Your worship has become a consuming blaze that makes hell nervous and heaven lean in with anticipation. This Monday, you're not just going to see confirmation of your calling. You're going to see the fire that's been building in you finally break forth. The wilderness season is over. The refining process is complete. The gold has been tested and proven pure. And now you're dangerous to the kingdom of darkness because you carry something they can't counterfeit: the fire of authentic, tested, proven faith. If you feel that power rising in you right now, if you feel something igniting in your chest that's been dormant too long, don't you dare shrink back. Don't you dare apologize for the fire you carry. Declare it. Speak it into the atmosphere. Let hell hear you and heaven rejoice. I'm not afraid of the fire. I am the fire. But here's what's going to happen this Monday that will prove everything I've just told you. Beloved, I need you to wrap your mind around something that will shake you to your core. Your moment isn't lost in some cosmic filing cabinet. It hasn't been given to someone else. It hasn't expired or moved on without you. Your moment has been circling the earth like a divine satellite, scanning every generation, every decade, every year, looking for the exact version of you that could hold its weight without breaking. And guess what? This version of you sitting here right now, weathered by trials, strengthened by silence, refined by rejection, this is the match. This is the person heaven has been waiting for. Listen to me carefully. You think you've been waiting on God, but the truth will stagger you. God has been waiting on you. Waiting for you to become unshakable enough to carry what He's about to release. Waiting for you to stop apologizing for your power. Waiting for you to realize that every gray hair on your head is a crown of wisdom, every line on your face a testament to survival. You've been wondering why doors stayed closed when you knocked, why opportunities seemed to slip through your fingers like sand, why prayers felt like they were bouncing off the ceiling. But what if I told you those weren't denials? What if they were delays designed by divine intelligence? What if what you've been praying for has been standing quietly behind you this entire time, waiting for your yes? Not the desperate yes of desperation, but the confident yes of someone who finally knows their worth. Think about Abraham. Genesis 17:17 tells us he laughed when God promised him a son at 100 years old. Laughed because in human terms it was impossible. But God wasn't operating in human terms. He was operating in Kairos time, divine timing, where age becomes irrelevant and impossibility becomes invitation. Sarah conceived at 90. Moses received his calling at 80. Anna the prophetess recognized Jesus at 84. Caleb conquered mountains at 85. Your age isn't your expiration date, it's your qualification certificate. But here's where it gets personal, and I need you to feel this in your bones. That restlessness you've carried, that sense that something is missing, that deep knowing that you were made for more than just existing, that wasn't discontent, that was destiny calling your name. You've been feeling it intensify lately, haven't you? Sleep has been different, dreams more vivid, your spirit more sensitive. That's because the atmosphere around your life is shifting. Heaven is adjusting frequencies. Angels are taking positions. Jeremiah 1-5 declares, "Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart." Set you apart for what? For this Monday, for this moment, for this divine intersection where preparation meets purpose. You want to know why the enemy fought you so hard, why depression tried to take you out, why sickness came knocking, why relationships fell apart just when you needed them most. Because hell saw your appointment on heaven's calendar and panicked, but you're still here, still breathing, still believing. And that alone is proof that what's coming can't be stopped. Here's what's about to happen this Monday, and I need you to catch this with your spirit before your mind processes it. You're going to see something that confirms what your heart always knew, but your circumstances made you doubt. It might be a call, a message, an opportunity, a person, a moment of clarity so sharp it cuts through years of confusion. And when it happens, you won't question it. You won't need 3 confirmations and a prophetic word. You'll know it like you know your own name, because it will feel like destiny putting on flesh and introducing itself. It's like destiny left a key hanging in midair, and now finally your hands fit the grip perfectly. But here's the part that will bring you to tears. This moment has been as lonely as you have. It's been searching, waiting, hoping for you to mature into the person who could receive it without destroying it or being destroyed by it. Every setback strengthened your foundation. Every heartbreak expanded your capacity for joy. Every silent season taught you to hear God's whisper above the world's noise. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared. Romans 8:28 promises that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Not some things, all things. Even the things that nearly broke you were building you. This Monday isn't just about what you'll receive. It's about who you'll become. Not someone new, but someone remembered, someone awakened, someone who finally understands that they weren't called to watch prophecy unfold from the sidelines. You were not called to watch prophecy. You are the prophecy walking. Your life isn't a rough draft waiting to be rewritten. Your story isn't a mistake waiting to be corrected. You are the living, breathing fulfillment of prayers your great-grandparents prayed, but never lived to see answered. And this Monday, heaven and earth are about to align to remind you of something you forgot in the chaos of surviving. You are magnificent, you are necessary, you are irreplaceable. So stop waiting for permission to step into your greatness. Stop apologizing for taking up space. Stop dimming your light because others can't handle the brightness. Say it loud. Post it proud. This moment was written for me. Because chosen one, what's about to unfold this Monday will leave no doubt about one undeniable truth: you were never forgotten. You were just being forged for such a time as this. Here's what nobody tells you about breakthrough. Heaven does not bless hesitation. You've been sitting in that same chair, praying the same prayers, asking God for the same confirmations while your miracle grows cold, waiting for you to stand up. You think you're being cautious, but what you're really doing is insulting the very God who already equipped you with everything you need. Listen to me carefully. Every single day you delay is a day you're telling the Almighty that his timing isn't good enough for you, that his preparation wasn't thorough enough, that his voice isn't clear enough. Do you hear the arrogance in that? Do you feel the rebellion wrapped up in your so-called wisdom? Moses stood at the Red Sea with 2 million people breathing down his neck and Pharaoh's army charging from behind. The water hadn't moved yet. There was no YouTube tutorial on sea parting, no confirmation email from heaven. But you know what Moses had? The audacity to lift his staff before he saw a single drop move. Exodus 14:16 records God's command. Raise your staff and stretch out your hand over the sea to divide it. Notice the order: Moses had to move first, then the miracle followed. You're standing at your own Red Sea right now, the impossibility in front of you, the pressure behind you, and you're waiting for the water to part before you take a step. That's not faith, beloved. That's fear dressed up in spiritual language. Here's the truth that's going to shatter your comfort zone. You're not waiting on confirmation. You're waiting on courage. The confirmation already came when that restless stirring started in your spirit 6 months ago. It came when doors started closing in your old life. It came when you couldn't sleep because something was pulling you forward. It came when this very message found you tonight. How many more signs do you need? How many more open heavens before you admit that the only thing standing between you and your breakthrough is your own reluctance to move? Gideon had 32,000 soldiers, and God told him it was too many. Joshua had a wall that defied physics, and God told him to march around it. David had a slingshot against a giant, and everyone told him he was crazy. What did they all have in common? They moved when it made no logical sense. But you? You're sitting there calculating the cost, measuring the risk, waiting for a guarantee that doesn't exist in the kingdom of God. Faith, by definition, is the evidence of things not seen. Hebrews 11:1. If you could see it, you wouldn't need faith. If it was guaranteed, it wouldn't require trust. Every morning you wake up and choose delay, you're choosing death. Not physical death, spiritual death. The death of dreams deferred. The death of divine assignments gathering dust. The death of testimonies that were supposed to encourage the next generation. Do you understand the weight of what you're carrying? This isn't just about you anymore. There's a single mother in Detroit who needs to see your business succeed, so she'll know God hasn't forgotten her entrepreneurial dreams. There's a retired teacher in Phoenix who needs to witness your ministry launch, so he'll find courage to write that book he's been carrying for 20 years. There's a young woman in Chicago battling depression who needs to see you walk in victory, so she'll know her breakthrough is possible too. Your obedience isn't just personal, it's prophetic. When you move, you give permission for others to move. When you step out of the boat, you show the world that walking on water is still possible in 2024. It's like standing in a boat while the sea parts. The pathway is there. The miracle is happening, but the only thing left is to step. And you know what's tragic? Most people will stand there forever, watching the miracle, admiring the opportunity, praising God for the open door, but never actually walking through it. The Israelites had a generation that died in the wilderness because they refused to enter their promised land. They saw the grapes, they witnessed the abundance, they received the report. But when it came time to move, they chose fear over faith. Numbers 13:31 records their excuse. We can't attack those people. They are stronger than we are. 40 years later, their children walked into the same promise with the same obstacles and conquered it in a matter of days. What was the difference? One generation moved when God said, "Move." The other talked themselves out of their inheritance. Which generation are you going to be? Right now, as I'm speaking these words, the ground is waiting for your footprint. The miracle is waiting for your motion. The testimony is waiting for your step. The breakthrough is waiting for your yes. God isn't asking you to see the whole staircase. He's asking you to take the next step. 1 Kings 18:44 tells us, Elijah's servant saw a cloud the size of a man's hand, and Elijah said, "Go and tell Ahab, hitch up your chariot and go down before the rain stops you." A cloud the size of a hand became a downpour that ended a 3-year drought. Your small step of faith is about to become a flood of favor. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop waiting for more money in the bank. Stop waiting for your kids to approve. Stop waiting for your spouse to understand. Stop waiting for the fear to leave. It won't. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving despite the fear. The only thing more dangerous than taking the risk is not taking it. The only thing more costly than obedience is disobedience. The only thing more frightening than stepping out is staying put while your purpose dies of old age. Right now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel more ready. Stand up, walk forward, send the text, submit the application, make the call. Say yes to what your spirit already knows is yours. Don't just know you're chosen, move like you're chosen. Because when a chosen one finally decides to move, the earth itself shifts to accommodate their obedience. Before you close this video, I need you to remember 3 things that will anchor your soul in the coming days. First, this Monday isn't random, it's orchestrated. What you're about to experience has been carefully crafted by the Master's hand, timed to perfection for this exact moment in your life. You didn't stumble upon this message, you were guided to it. Second, your season of preparation is complete. Every trial, every delay, every moment of doubt has been shaping you for what's coming. You are not behind schedule, you are precisely on time for your divine appointment. And third, what you receive this Monday is not just for you. It's for every life you'll touch, every person you'll inspire, every generation that will benefit from your obedience to step into your calling. But here's what I want you to know. With absolute certainty, you are not walking this path alone. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who shut the mouths of lions, who raised the dead, is still working miracles in your life today. He hasn't retired. He hasn't forgotten your name. He hasn't moved on to someone else's story. Your breakthrough is still his priority. And you have a community here, thousands of chosen ones who understand your journey, who felt that same stirring, who've wrestled with the same doubts. In the comments below, you'll find brothers and sisters ready to stand with you in prayer, ready to celebrate your victories, ready to remind you of who you are when the enemy tries to make you forget. Let me ask you something that will echo in your spirit long after this video ends. If God showed you tomorrow exactly how he plans to use your story to heal others, to inspire breakthrough, to demonstrate his faithfulness to a watching world, would you still hesitate to step into your calling? Now, let me pray over you, as if I could reach through this screen and place my hand on your shoulder, as a father would pray over a child about to embark on the greatest adventure of their life. Heavenly Father, I lift up every person watching this message right now. Lord, you see them in their living rooms, in their bedrooms, in their cars, in their moments of quiet desperation and hopeful anticipation. You know every tear they've cried, every prayer they've whispered, every time they've wondered if you still had a plan for their life. God, I pray that you would settle their restless hearts tonight. Let your peace, which surpasses all understanding, guard their minds and hearts in Christ Jesus. Remove every spirit of fear, every voice of doubt, every whisper of the enemy that says they're too late, too old, too broken, too ordinary. Lord, as this Monday approaches, I pray you would open their spiritual eyes to see what you're doing behind the scenes. Let them recognize your hand moving, your voice speaking, your doors opening. Give them supernatural courage to step through those doors without hesitation. Father, bless them with divine connections, supernatural favor, and undeniable confirmation of their calling. Let what happens this Monday be so clear, so specific, so perfectly timed, that they will never again doubt that you are working all things together for their good. And Lord, I pray that their breakthrough becomes a bridge for others. Let their testimony become someone else's hope. Let their courage give others permission to believe again. In Jesus' mighty name, I speak breakthrough over their finances, healing over their bodies, restoration over their relationships, and clarity over their purpose. Let this Monday mark the beginning of the greatest chapter of their lives. Amen and amen. If this message has stirred something deep within you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it in the comments below. Tell us what God is speaking to your heart. Ask for prayer. Share your story. Encourage someone else who might be struggling with the same doubts you've carried. And please, share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You never know who in your circle is sitting in their own season of waiting, wondering if God has forgotten them. Your simple act of sharing could be the divine intervention that changes their life. If you've watched this entire message, thank you for trusting me with your time. Your attention is sacred, and I don't take it lightly. If this content has blessed you, if you want to be part of a community that believes in the power of divine timing and chosen purpose, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. We're building something powerful here, a family of believers who refuse to settle for ordinary when God has called them to extraordinary. Remember, chosen one, this Monday isn't just another day. It's your day, your moment, your divine appointment with destiny. And I believe with everything in me that you're going to walk into it with your head held high, your faith anchored deep, and your heart wide open to receive everything God has been preparing for you. Until we meet again, may God's favor follow you, his peace surround you, and His purpose propel you into the fullness of who you were created to be. Go walk in your calling. The world is waiting to see what God looks like when He moves through someone who truly believes they are chosen.